I ran into the issue getting a money order here. It has limitations on like how much you can withdraw. We're doing the master class right now, and yeah, it's been really something. All right, so this might be TMI for a lot of y'all, but I think you're going to want to know what I just saved for all of this, because this conversation and documenting my thoughts of how I feel means so much more to me than all the rest, because I've learned to prioritize the things that are important and deprioritize the things that are not. I ran into the issue getting a money order here that it's like one of the accounts that I have for the company is it has limitations on like how much you can withdraw. So getting a money order showed up as if it was like an ATM withdrawal instead of a regular purchase. So if you're getting into business and you're starting to do stuff for yourself, number one, this is precisely why I have multiple accounts, so you have more flexibilities with what is helping to let you do your work in your company, so that you can receive money fast. You can also pay your bills and stuff fast. I wish everything honestly could just be paid online. I hate anything that I have to deal with fiat money and fiat currency and all that stuff, because you start running into these limitations where if it's online, it withdraws or works from account to account. It just makes things that much easier. So I thank the Lord I was able to get it done. Customer service was able to help me to raise that limit, but that's the max that they can do, period. For any accounts, which I almost slightly don't believe, because I worked in banking and it's like different tiers and stuff, but they'll never tell you that publicly. But in this case, it might be true, so have options. So I'm just coming out the store. I saw something I haven't seen in a really long time, and it's just interesting. It's like, for whatever reason, I'm thinking about it, and like I'm just watching a scenario play out. Okay, well, I'm in Aldi's. If you know Aldi's, it's like you have your items, you pay for your bags and stuff like that, or what have you. Usually it's like one, maybe two people. Eventually the line starts to get long. The young lady called for two more people. Not uncommon. It's a gentleman. He's pulling out the cash in his pocket. There's no rush or anything like that. And the guy's sitting there with his hands out, and he puts the money on the counter instead of handing it to the young man. The young man picks it up. Like you can tell, he looks at him and he picks it up, rings it out. He gets him his cash, so it's only it comes out to be $5 even. He takes the receipt, takes the $5, and sit it back on the counter. And he's like, "There you are. Have a nice day." Gentleman walked off to get something out the back, and the other guy turned and looked at me for a second, and then he walks off. Now, what's weird about this encounter, or what's kind of not, like I know what that transaction is, but I'm really curious if the gentleman who did that really understands what that means. And it's not to say or to make everything a racial situation or whatever, but there are certain behaviors that has been propelled for a really long time. And it's not that the guy was mean, or again, not saying that he's a racist. That's not the point. But it's some behaviors and there's some things that people do that they don't recognize the significance behind that and how that matters. For sure, ever since 2020, every racial situation ever is kind of just getting amplified even furthermore. And that's the point, not the point of me sharing that. It's just sometimes when you're doing something, watch and pay attention to what you're doing and see if the behaviors that you're exemplifying are something that maybe you should want to consider changing. Because the only difference in that story was the gentleman that put the money on the counter was white and the cashier gentleman was black. And the history behind that is that would be a thing after segregation was kind of done away with somewhat, and now things are more integrated. People will put money on the counter because they didn't want to touch black people's hands, and that was always a thing. It's 2022. It's just kind of weird to still see something like that. And again, not saying anything about the guy who's the older white gentleman, but it's just the idea. Sometimes it's good to sunset some of those things. Behaviors that maybe were okay at one point comes off really weird. And it's not that he was counting his change or something like that, but it's just a really weird thing. So one thing I abide by is always questioning, why am I doing what I'm doing, and do I believe in the what I'm doing or behavior, or is this something that was a learned behavior that's helped me to change and adapt a lot of things that I do and think. So just something, but it's just something to consider. Think about the behaviors and actions that you're doing, and is this something that's really something you should continue to do? That's all. All right, so this might be TMI for a lot of y'all, but I think you're going to want to know what I just saved for all of this. As my friend would say, it's hotter than 7 hells. Or she said her uncle said it. Either way, I just came out of CVS, and the young lady was telling me about their extra care package, which I already am a CVS member. Every Thursday, you get like 40% off. Now it's like $4. And like you can compound your receipts, not really receipts, but your deals and stuff. And that includes manufacturer's coupon. So every few weeks, I'll go into my account when I'm getting the extra $4 on Thursday. And then I'll start hitting the buttons for all the things that I might need or might get or whatever. Well, she was telling me at the register, you get like 20%, a couple extra things off, plus $10 off. So it took my bill down to $3.49, which is incredible and so worth it. I'm glad I came. I'm glad I signed up and stuff. It's like an extra $10 plus like 20% off and extra deals on CVS branded things, which I buy a lot. So if you are a CVS shopper, might want to pick this program up. It's seeming to be worth it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're getting ready to do a little bit of a podcast. We're back at home, and time to get to it. That was such an amazing interview with Andrew and Sylvia Nixon. I am just in such a good place. Like it's sometimes you have these conversations, these interviews that honestly your heart feels better.
And it's definitely, it is a lesson that most business owners and upcoming entrepreneurs, you need to grab a hold of it, because you will lose your audience because you don't have that in place for them to support you and to tell others about your message. And so we've seen where, some affiliates, they are, we would say, okay, what's the message? What's the message? What's the message? No, I want my logo on there. Okay. We're gonna give you what you want. And then, it's a thing of, well, people are not buying it. The reason people are not buying it is because there's nothing to connect them with. And so, like Diana said, once you get that message, you keep speaking that message, right? And if we go back to the God is Dope shirt, most people that have it have no idea who is the CEO of God is Dope.
Right. Oh, that's
they
so
don't.
good.
They don't know. They don't, and frankly, they probably don't care. They're just waiting for another God is Dope design to hit so they can get another one, because they support the message.
And it's really been the same design throughout. Now I know they've done a couple different things, but it's really been that main design, and different garments, different colored shirts, and that's it. So they've been very consistent. I'm saying that to say they've been very consistent with their message and their brand, and that's all that it takes, just consistency. I think we talked about this the other day. It was a different conversation, but again, with that, we're in this microwave type society, right? We want to throw it in a microwave, and we want it to be hot in a matter of seconds. We want it to be hot in a minute. But no, sometimes you're gonna have to go to that conventional oven, make sure you preheat it, get the right temperature, and let that bad boy bake for a while.
Right.
And that's you communicating. That's you being consistent. That's you being the model for it. That's you pushing. You have to eat, sleep, and breathe it. And and if you don't, then how are other people going to buy into it?
What's up, creators? Just so happens to be the next day, because I really wasn't feeling all that great. Yesterday I kind of hit a wall. I guess just all the activity and everything, and the endometriosis was just rampaging yesterday. Yeah, rampaging. rampaging. That's what I want to say. I did get a package though, and I have no idea what it is. I would imagine maybe an article of clothing or something of the like. Now usually most people do unboxings and they start to, oh, first of all, what you're hearing is a heating pad, massage pad that has heat and all wonderful things. So where is it? My handy dandy remote. I can control it to do a few things, so you may hear that. But if you didn't, then, well, now you know. So let's get into this. We need not rip like maniacs or try to cut it. Simple poke with the finger will get the job done. Alright, let's see what we got here. Ah. Oh, have to get that later. Very nice. Compliments of Uscreen. We're doing the master class right now, and yeah, it's been really something. Staying in the chat the whole time, doing polls, different things, so just really focus on this. And then afterwards, got the live stream going further into my content quadrant and teaching people how to be able to create content no matter how much time you have, even if you're super busy. I'm very excited about this. So the thing is like if you're going through and you're crafting these ideas for your videos, if it's going to take a little bit longer to do, you want to start crafting the first 8 to 15 seconds. What is something that your audience already knows? People, if you're doing a few things that's hurting your videos, you probably need to stop and start taking those out. Alright, so it's the end of the day finally, and I want to address a question that I got on the channel here, which comes in from none other than Vaughn Sanders Ministry, who I got to finally meet in person in Spokane, Washington. I was about to say Albany, but that wasn't it. That was last year. So, and I didn't meet you then, so whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. And he left the question saying, I keep saying that I'm going to try to vlog. Each time I try, I clam up, have a loss of words, and feel stupid. I admire your dedication to documentation. Love the BTS. First of all, Vaughn, I appreciate you. I really do. I want to kind of unpack this a little bit because, and I'll probably do a dedicated video for sure on my main channel because I think that's an important thing, especially with some of the content that we have coming on the creator series that is on the main channel. Let's go someplace where you're probably not shaking because the desk situation is not, I just don't like the constant, you know what I'm saying, all of that weighing about that life. That's better. So now we don't have to deal with the shaky table syndrome. And so the other thing is, you said like you clam up, you get a loss for words. When you are thinking about vlogging, this is why like doing stories, like Instagram stories, is good for you. Especially if you are wanting to get into vlogging, because you can hold your phone up anywhere and do something, a quick story, 15 seconds, in literally 15-second increments, because that's what it is to do a story. You can do that anywhere and nobody thinks twice about it because everybody else is doing it. They know someone that's doing it or they're with someone that's doing it. So stories is not as uncommon. It's usually when people go that next step up from doing stories to vlogging that now you start to see where people are more, you know, consciously aware. And they now know that this isn't just going to a Facebook story or an Instagram story. You're actually posting this content someplace. Like you're legit making content. That's the difference in that intersection in the in-between. So like dealing with, again, people seeing you. Again, you can choose what environment works best for you, what camera works best for you, your phone at different times for different things. You know what I'm saying? It's just those quick segments. And what I do is I'll speak in statements. I'm not doing long monologues per se in like really busy places because one, you have the noise, but then two, your mind may be set on doing something else, especially for me when I'm traveling. But this last time in Atlanta, which you all at this time have not seen that vlog yet, because I'm gonna post this vlog at home ahead of that content, so you haven't seen it, but I'll share with you a quick clip. At this point, like when you're being, I don't even want to say influencer, it's more like entrepreneurship, honestly. Influencer got tacked on because of social media, and so they feel like that's the only method or chain that you do this. I was an entrepreneur long before any social channels became prevalent, if you will. And so because of that, like it almost feels dismissive. So I never go with that. I'm just like, consider myself an entrepreneur. So in this clip, I'm sitting in a cafeteria in Atlanta's airport that's hella busy. And there's people everywhere. But what I decided to do, because I can always see the screen out of my peripheral vision, and then also too, to not have any whatever randoms popping up in the background and stuff like that, I just kind of zoomed in, brought it into something like this here, so that it's just me on screen. If there is somebody in the background or something like that, it wasn't enough for me to pay attention to, because it's just this and it's just me. Now you can zoom out and you can get wider. We're on the Sigma 16 right now at this moment, but at the 10 and 20 it's like super wide. But the closer you are to your camera, which I was about this close, the more it's going to focus on you versus the background, even at f4 on the aperture. And then there's something else that you pointed out here. It's like, I admire your dedication to documentation. So, and then it's like you say you feel a loss of words and feel stupid. I think to some extent that's everybody, man. That's everybody that's vlogging. I haven't met anybody that's done vlogging to where at some point they didn't feel that way. Like I wholeheartedly believe that that's normal for you to feel in the beginning, because you're trying to get used to something different. Think about the first time that you went to go drive a car. Felt kind of weird, didn't it? Like, especially like a truck coming by, or somebody's driving real fast, you know, ahead of you, or drive past by you, and you're like, whoa, that was nerve-wracking, right? All of these micro experiences and these micro interactions adding up over time, you get used to it and you learn what you want to do and how you want to react best to handle that situation. The same is true when it comes to vlogging. How do I want to handle the situation? If it is a bunch of people around, do you want to record it right then and there, or do you want to wait till you go someplace else? I knew, one, my energy levels is going to decrease, and I was pushing things a bit, taking a second trip out of town so quickly, and then coming back home very quickly. But it was a goal that I had. It was something I wanted to do, and it's something I honestly needed to do. Do you feel silly when you're first driving? Sure. Do you feel like everybody that's looking at you automatically knows you literally just got your license yesterday? Sure. But over time, nobody's treating you any differently from that first day to this day. It's just your thoughts of what you think other people are thinking about you, and nobody is thinking that much about you. Maybe sometimes people may think twice, because it may be interacting with something, maybe it was a poor experience for them or was a positive experience for them. When I was in Spokane and I went to the restroom just to kind of get away for a second, and went to the restroom and I was leaning over the sink, again, just catching my breath, and I was washing my hands very slowly, just so I could just relax a minute. And this lady walks in and she was like, excuse me, weren't you upstairs with the camera? It's like you and another person. And I was like, yeah. And so I stood up off the thing and she was like, man, I just think that is so cool. What are you guys doing? Like, what are you making? I was so curious. I had to come up here and find out. I just think that's so cool. And so we chatted for maybe 5 minutes or less about, and I didn't even have my camera then in the bathroom. That would have been a cool experience, but kind of weird because it's in the bathroom. But that was a cool experience that this woman and I shared, to where I don't know what role I play in somebody else's life, to where maybe just seeing me vlogging in public inspires them that they can do it too. Because it's like, I seen somebody doing that when I was in the airport, and man, I want to do it too. I think I'm gonna go for it. Maybe I'm that last little bit of something. Sorry about the airplane. But maybe I'm that last little bit of a push that they need without even saying anything. Me just smile. I just look at people. If they look back at me, give them a nice smile. Or it's like somebody say, hey, and the back is like, hey. And the way I imagine things to make myself more aware, I've had to go and speak to people in stores and just get used to having random conversations with people that aren't weird, and just get over it. Don't think twice about it. So that's a thing in itself. But the way I get over it really quickly, I just pretend like everybody's my friend and leave it at that. If there would be value in documenting and rewatching or having watched the documented footage of people like Oprah, people like Jay-Z, who else? Steve Jobs, all these guys, instead of watching a movie or something that somebody made or somebody's making a documentary, and you just have to listen to everybody's stories and they have a few pictures to put it between, versus like what Kanye had, where he had all his stuff documented himself. Why not? For me personally, for where I am and what I want to do, this was the right move for me personally. And I don't regret it at all. Not one bit. Not one bit. So, if you wanted a longer vlog, you got it today. And I hope that you enjoyed just having a conversation, just sitting down, sipping a bit of cocoa, right? Getting a little bit of tea, getting a little spot of tea, and you drink it up, right, mate? You just drink a little sip, right? So you grab your mug, take a wee bit, and be alright, mate. Be alright. So, just want to leave it for this vlog, and I'll see you later. We just finished the masterclass. We just finished the live stream. We are done. You feel me? I dance like I'm a 90s kid, because I am. That's what you gotta do. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself. You feel me? Just rock with me. I know you're at home. You ain't doing nothing. You might be in the car. Just rock with me. This song is banging, ain't it? I know it is.